The Chiefs were looking to run it back, but fell short. How Mid-Missouri fans are reacting tonight.
And the coldest week we've had so far this winter season, it's here right now. I'm tracking it day by day for the week ahead and the snow chances in between.
Plus, a community is coming together to decide what's next for a church hit by vandals in Callaway County. This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Well, it's been a tough few hours for Chiefs fans. Folks have been looking for a repeat of last year's win, and they're going to bed disappointed tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us. Reaction certainly pouring in across Mid-Missouri right now. We're going to send it right over to KOMU 8's sports director, Ben Arnett, who joins us now in the studio. So, Ben, the Chiefs started off the game strong, but it quickly became a different story.
Yeah, they scored first, but the Chiefs never really looked like themselves tonight. Now, we will hear from the Chiefs coming up later in Sports Extra. They're having their press conferences right now. We'll talk all about it coming up in a bit.
Yeah, but a lot of folks wanted that Chiefs win today, especially the fans who went out and braved the cold to see their favorite team. KOMU 8's Sydney Moran now braving the cold herself live downtown Columbia. How fans are feeling tonight, Sydney?
Emily, it has been a long, cold, hard day for Chiefs fans. Not only are they feeling a loss, but they felt the cold too. It is freezing outside. You can actually see my breath as I'm talking, and we saw people running in and out of bars just to stay warm. I got to downtown Columbia a little earlier this afternoon, and despite the cold, the energy was high as people waited for their Chiefs. I actually talked to some people just a few minutes ago before they were heading home, and the overall mood after the game was, you can guess it, disappointment.
And so we were really holding on until the last half, and then it got to the fourth quarter, and they were still down by about 20.
And I was pretty sad.
Yeah, it's been a rough night. It's been a really rough night.
A lot of disappointment, and obviously Corona makes things different right now, but so like the bar was empty, but also with the loss, like it was just really sad. Not much was going on.
Yeah, obviously disappointed, but we're still huge Chiefs fans no matter what.
With Patrick Mahomes' 10-year contract with the Chiefs, fans are still hopeful that he'll get at least one more title in the future. Live in Columbia, Sydney Moran, KOMU 8 News. Back to you, Emily.
Okay, Sydney, go warm up. We saw some snow falling this afternoon in Mid-Missouri, but with that, we also saw brutal cold temperatures out there. And Kenton, this is something that you've been talking about, trying to mentally prepare us for this cold blast. How long is it sticking around?
Ooh, the near future. Right now, it looks like we're going to be below average even into the middle of this month. Well, I'm tracking that, how much snow I'm expecting in the next couple days, and how cold we're going to be coming up, Emily.
Okay, thanks, Kenton. Here's a look now at your latest COVID-19 numbers in Missouri. More than 700 new COVID cases were reported statewide in the last 24 hours. The total number of cases in the state now sits at more than 466,000. One new death was reported today, bringing the total death toll to more than 7,000 in Missouri since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, when it comes to vaccination numbers, 8.7% of Missouri's population has received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine. That's more than 500,000 residents statewide. 2.6% have received both doses. That means more than 160,000 residents have received their second and final dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Well, between COVID-19 case numbers and now vaccination numbers, we know there can be confusing, a little overwhelming. KOMU 8 is tracking both case numbers statewide and county by county. You can head over to KOMU.com to see how your county is doing when it comes to the spread of the virus. We're also keeping a close eye on how counties are doing when it comes to that vaccine distribution. So on the top of KOMU 8's homepage, you'll find a vaccine availability map, which tells you where your county is when it comes to vaccination phases and vaccination availability. Head to our website for a full breakdown. Boone Hospital Center will start allowing visitors tomorrow. This decision comes as the county's current hospital status is at yellow. The yellow status means hospitals within Boone County are delaying non-emergency patient transfers and delaying non-urgent procedures. South Africa is actually putting a pause on its plans to vaccinate frontline healthcare workers with the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. It comes as a small clinical trial showed the vaccine is not effective in preventing mild to moderate illness from the variant that originated in South Africa. The country got its first 1 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine last week. It was supposed to start giving out shots in the next 2 weeks. South Africa's health minister said the government is waiting on advice from scientists on how to proceed.
So it's a temporary issue that we have to hold on to AstraZeneca. It is temporary until we figure out these issues. What are the next steps supposed to be? When we know those steps, then of course we bring it back.
The early results aren't peer-reviewed yet, but could indicate mass vaccinations using the AstraZeneca vaccine may not be useful against the highly contagious South Africa variant. A busy week ahead in Washington, D.C. Coming up, a preview of the week in politics. Well, a lot happening in the nation's capital this week. Former President Trump's second impeachment trial will kick into full gear, along with continued talks about a stimulus relief package. CNN's Melissa Rainey has a look at the week ahead in Washington.
I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
President Biden's stimulus package also includes increased funding for COVID-19 vaccinations and testing. On Thursday, the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell told Biden in a letter that every NFL stadium is available to become a vaccination site. President Ronald Reagan's longtime Secretary of State has died. George Shultz spent most of the 1980s trying to improve relations with the Soviet Union, as well as trying to bring peace to the Middle East. He died at his home on Stanford University's campus. Officials have not released a cause of death. He was 100 years old, the oldest surviving cabinet member of any administration. Haiti is seeing some political turmoil after the president there announced several arrests in an alleged power grab. Protesters set fires in the streets of the capital city as police clashed with anti-government protesters. The president says officials have arrested more than 20 people who are accused of trying to kill him and overthrow his government, including a Supreme Court judge and a senior police official. Community members gathered today to discuss restoring a church hit by vandals last month. It happened in the small town of Tibbetts in Callaway County. According to the sheriff's office, teenagers vandalized Oakley Church, an historically black church. Now community members want to move the 143-year-old building somewhere more visible. One neighbor says the current location makes it harder for people to watch over the church.
Back there is prone to a lot more vandalism, fire, and whatever. So if we can get it down here, a lot more people will see it down here, and we can watch over it.
Phillips was one of the few people to show up to the meeting today. The coordinator says he was disappointed by the lack of people who showed up to the meeting, especially after the response on Facebook. The coordinator says they've already started looking at new locations and raising money for restoration. If you want to help out, visit this story on our website, KOMU.com, for more information. Well, in the Northeast, some people are seeing new snow while still digging out from last week's storm. In some areas, residents are seeing as much as 10 inches of new snow. In Quincy, Massachusetts, snow fell around 3 to 4 inches per hour. It's causing poor conditions, as you can imagine, for drivers on the roads. And Kenton, we got snow here, but certainly not 3 to 4 inches an hour. I'll stick with our dusting that we received here.
Yeah, definitely not that much. And this air mass that's given us all this cold air, Emily, it's going to stick around through this week, maybe even into next week, too. It's